More than £270 million in council tax rebates has been handed out across the East Midlands to help households deal with these soaring energy bills. It all comes as consumers are warned that average prices could hit £3,000 a year next April. Well, many in our region are already making quite difficult decisions this winter to try and counter the rising cost of living, as Giles Taylor reports.
Parents Stacey and Darren live in Leicester with their two daughters. Like many, they've been left alarmed by surging energy prices this autumn.
I look every day on my smart meter, and even when I've got the kitchen light on or the bedroom light on, you know, I can obviously see it on the meter and you can see it slowly depleting.
We're having to cut down a lot, especially on our gas and electric, to make sure we can afford food, because food has gone up as well, you know, so it's hitting all aspects are hitting the pocket at the moment.
The couple survive off benefits and the £69 a week they each get as full-time carers. But with their rent alone costing £700 a month, there's precious little left to go around.
We're definitely going to feel the pinch at Christmas as well, you know, and it's hard to try and explain that for the children, and we're probably not the only ones that are in that situation.
Especially with Christmas, you want your Christmas tree lights up. I mean, I know I do. I turn off all my lights, all unnecessary plugs like TVs, just to leave the Christmas tree lights on just for a little bit longer.
Each week we are fighting to survive.
We are definitely
really.
Week by week.
Definitely week by week.
It is week by week.
Sometimes day by day.
Stacey and Darren are not alone.
People are genuinely worried out there, and people are looking for that kind of support, whether it be with their finances, where they can get food from. We've been making more referrals to external agencies. It is a very regular occurrence that people are asking for some help now.
In Leicester, £19 million of support has already been handed out in the form of council tax rebates.
The team have put a lot of resource in, a lot of effort into trying to maximise the amount of money that went out. We're hoping that the payments will go a small way towards helping. We're looking at a number of other things we can do. But as ever this winter, more help really is needed by government for those that are struggling to make ends meet.
We try and get as much help as we can, like the household support fund and the council tax rebates, and it helps. It does help, but it's still not enough. I feel like if the government don't do something soon, it's going to be a national crisis.
Giles is with us here this evening. Tell us a little bit more, I hope, Giles. Now, can you tell me firstly, what sort of support have local councils given out to people that we saw there, like Stacey and Darren?
Yes, well, Anne, you may remember that earlier this year the government announced plans to offset rising energy bills with council tax rebates, specifically £150 for each eligible household. Now, that money was all handed out by the end of September, around £270 million across the East Midlands. Additionally, our local councils have been given around £8 million to give out in so-called discretionary payments to those most in need of support. The deadline for that to be handed out is at the end of this month. Leicester City Council alone has handed out nearly £19 million in council tax rebates, while other city councils across our region have handed out similar amounts.
And has all the money that was allocated by government actually been spent now?
Well, the vast majority of it has, Anne, but actually there's around £5 million that's remained unspent. For example, in Nottingham, only around 89% of the allocation was used. The City Council says that tracking down people who pay their council tax with direct debit in particular has been a real concern for them. But they've also told me that the government actually allocated them too much and that they're confident that payments were made to each eligible household.
So now that all that money's been distributed out there, you know, where else can people turn if they need extra help?
Yes, well, in my report, Anne, we heard from the Leicester Credit Union, which supports people who are struggling to manage their finances, and they're urging people to seek support sooner rather than later.
They can always check with their providers. There are lots of trusts out there, particularly from the major energy providers, for extra help with your bills. If you need help, make sure you're getting out there and getting the help that you need. Just raise your voice, speak to someone.
Well, meanwhile, Anne, the government is promising further support for the most vulnerable households in April, when the average energy bill is set to rise to an eye-watering £3,000 a year.
It's a lot, isn't it? Thanks indeed for that, Giles. Let's hope it's helped somebody out there.